Imagine being dropped into a blinding white expanse of subarctic snow at sunset. The wind cuts through your layers, you have no shelter, and every minute the sun stays below the horizon, the environment works to kill you. To sustain basic organ function, your body operates under a strict biological mandate. It must maintain an internal core temperature of exactly 37 degrees Celsius. This graph illustrates the central conflict of Arctic survival. That top flat line is your required core temperature, but as the ambient air plunges below zero, it creates a lethal thermal gap that your body cannot natively close. Without external engineering to trap heat, the environment will aggressively balance this equation by stripping your body heat until you reach systemic organ failure. We can see these physics in action by looking at a recent survival challenge, where YouTube creator Mr. Beast and his crew were dropped into the Arctic for 7 days with almost zero equipment. The Arctic environment dictates survival through a strict physics equation. Every watt of heat lost to the frozen air must be manually matched by the heat you generate or preserve. The first thermodynamic threat is convection. High-velocity wind currents rapidly remove the body's protective thermal boundary layer, accelerating heat loss far beyond what the body can produce through shivering. The crew engineered an immediate solution by digging a snow cave. The structure's exterior dome deflects the wind shear, leaving the interior air stagnant to halt convective loss and trap the occupant's body heat. But the shelter introduces a second threat: conduction. Sleeping directly on the ice creates a massive thermal sink, where heat flows directly out of the body and into the freezing floor. This conductive loss triggers peripheral vasoconstriction. The body violently restricts blood flow to the extremities, turning toes a ghost white color, to sacrifice the limbs and protect the vital organs. To reverse this, the team used a field-expedient rewarming method. One member placed his freezing feet into a teammate's armpits, utilizing a healthy core's heat to safely rewarm ischemic tissue. The permanent architectural fix required a thermal break. They harvested spruce boughs to weave an insulated mattress, creating a vital air gap between their skin and the frozen ground. Blocking the wind handles convective loss, but failing to engineer a conductive thermal break on the floor makes hypothermia inevitable by morning. To actively generate heat, the team required fire, but a massive snowstorm had soaked all available surface wood. This is governed by the latent heat of vaporization. The thermal energy from a spark is wasted boiling the moisture out of the wood and converting it into steam, rather than igniting the cellulose. The mechanical solution is to manually alter the wood's geometry. By carving feather sticks, you expose the dry interior of the branch, drastically increasing the surface area so a low-energy spark can bypass the moisture threshold. Creating fire in the subarctic is a manual engineering task. You must solve the thermodynamic problem of ignition before core temperatures drop to fatal levels. The final hurdle is internal metabolic heat. Shivering is a biological furnace, but it requires continuous caloric input to stay lit. The crew faced a massive metabolic deficit. They burned thousands of calories trudging through deep snow and manually cranking an ice auger through 75 centimeters of solid lake ice, only to find the blade wouldn't reach the water. This triggers a cascading failure loop. The metabolic deficit leads to shivering exhaustion, followed by a loss of manual dexterity and eventually cognitive decline. They broke the loop using a camera drone to scout for fast-moving river water. Because moving water freezes thinner, they could reach the water with their limited tools. This success relied on pure endurance, sitting motionless in the biting wind for 4 hours before diving bare hands into the water to grab a fish before it could dart away. Without fuel to power the body's metabolic heat generation, all other survival tools eventually become physically impossible to operate. By day 7, the team had stabilized their environment. They successfully cooked a meal, boosted morale with a snowball fight, and prioritized leaving the wilderness exactly as they found it. The 7-day challenge ended with a surprise rescue, as a team of husky sled dogs charged across the snowbanks to pull the crew back toward civilization. These same survival strategies, snow caves, insulation, and firecraft, were documented in military manuals over 70 years ago. The physical laws of the frozen Earth have not changed. The Arctic environment is completely indifferent to human willpower or suffering. It only responds to physical, engineered solutions. Surviving the world's harshest environments requires relentless problem solving and psychological adaptability. If you can balance the thermodynamic equation, you get to go home.